What's up, all you time traveling dudes and dudettes? Toy Shiz here, and today we're going to be talking about the brand new Deadpool 2 movie starring Ryan Reynolds and Josh Brolin. And I just want to say, moving forward from here, this is not going to be, spoiler free by any means. This is going to be heavily spoilerish. I'm going to go into detail. I'm going to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, things they could have probably done differently, things that actually worked out. So, all in all, this is going to get heavy handed. So, if you have not seen the movie, I definitely recommend that you do not listen to this right now, but I would, go see it, come back, and see if we agree or not. That's part of the best thing. I love doing that. I love watching the movie, and then I go watch people that I like to see review things and all that good stuff. So without further ado, again, spoilers ahead. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna ruin the movie in terms of spoilers, so do not continue listening to this.
I really felt that. I guess number one, I'm going to say that I'm not a huge Deadpool fan, and while I do know about Deadpool's origins, and I knew the Rob Liefeld comic back in the day. I loved Cable, I loved the X-Men, I loved Jim Lee's run on it, and all that good stuff. So I'm well aware of Deadpool's story and how Cable works and all that good stuff. But I'm going to be honest, my knowledge of all those characters kind of exists in the '90s. When they were kind of coming onto the scene. So in that sense, I kind of had different expectations as far as what they were going to do with Deadpool and Cable. I thought maybe more of a buddy comedy or something like that, where Deadpool's the obnoxious, Joker, and then of course Cable is the deadpan, can't stand the guy kind of thing. And I really thought that would have worked well. The other part was I didn't like how every single character was funny. But most of the jokes, I'm going to be honest, didn't land for me. They were, I'm sorry to say that the movie was really obnoxious. I felt like it was every single thing had to be funny. Everything was a little bit forced. The jokes were kind of cringeworthy a little bit, especially with the ending, the death scene, towards the end. It was just it just went on for way too long. The time travel element, that's a total cop-out, I feel like. And I'm sorry to be so negative towards the movie. While I did, I enjoyed going to see it, it didn't meet my expectations, and I didn't really care for it. It was honestly just a very obnoxious movie. I didn't care for what they did with Colossus or Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It was really nice to see those characters back, but I feel like they didn't do them justice. I would have liked to have seen them really unleash and do their powers. I don't even think Negasonic used her powers, or if she did, she used them once. Kind of bummed out about the Juggernaut. I like that they kind of, they made a little mention of him being Professor X's brother, so that's cool. But what I would have honestly liked to have seen was if you kept the element where Vanessa dies, and then Deadpool does everything he tries to save her, ends up screwing up the timeline. That's why Cable comes back. They get into it. Then you come to find out there's maybe another villain that is, messing with it. And then they fight him at the end. Something to that degree. I think that would have really worked the best, because overall there wasn't really much of a story if you think about it. You have the little kid who's upset that he wants to go against the Purifiers. And he gets Juggernaut, which it was really great to see Juggernaut and have the Juggernaut be used. But it was really kind of underwhelming, I guess I want to say. You all this oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cool, Juggernaut, and then he was in a prison uniform with the helmet. It was just kind of lame, if we're being quite honest. I was kind of disappointed in that. Also, it didn't really act like the Juggernaut. He never did anything Juggernautish. It just, the whole point is once you can't stop the Juggernaut. You should have had him just running through stuff and knocking things out of the way. That would have been absolutely insane. So let's take all this negativity, right? And I'm going to say, well, yes, clearly I didn't care for the movie. I'm sorry. I really did find it did not land for me. It didn't work for me. And it might work for many of you, and I hope it does, because a lot of you, were saying Infinity War, oh, it bugged me, this bugged me. I absolutely loved Infinity War. So that's the part of, going to the movies. You're either really going to like something, or you don't, really like it. But it's fun to talk about. It's, it's fans talking to fans and just nerding out, and that's what brings us all together, and we can have a really great time discussing it. It never has to go where I'm never going to say, like, don't see this movie. Of course, go see Deadpool, make your own decision. But in terms of my opinion, I really wanted more from this movie, and it lagged so much. So that being said, what did I actually like about this movie? I liked Cable and I liked Domino. I thought those characters worked really well. The little throw-in with the Black Tom Cassidy joke, I thought that was kind of funny, especially where they went, in terms of that. But again, then the character, it doesn't actually go anywhere with the actual character. Let's see. The action sequences were cool. The car scene was cool. I really just wish I would have seen Juggernaut doing more ridiculous stuff. And I like what they did with the cameo for the X-Men. I thought that was like one of the funniest parts of the movie. Like, where are the X-Men? Where are the X-Men? You turn around and there's a door that's open right behind Deadpool, so he can't see. And you have like the entirety of the like basically the First Class and on X-Men just standing in a room. But Beast closes the door, and that was Kelsey Grammer. He closes the door like, oh dang, like I do not want to deal with Deadpool right now, and they just close the door on him, and that was like a perfect little nod. Apparently, Alan Tudyk and Matt Damon, of all people, they were in the movie too. They were the two rednecks that Cable takes the car from. They must have had a lot of makeup on, or I just wasn't paying attention to their faces, but I had no idea. I heard that later, so that's pretty crazy. Brad Pitt being the other, the vanishing superhero guy. That was actually really funny when they all jump out of the plane and then you just see the vest because the guy is invisible. That was funny. Peter was funny. Peter was actually funnier in the trailers. I think they really edited it wrong in this movie. Like, to be honest, when everyone's kind of dying and the X-Force members are going south, I think Peter should have just hit the ground. Like, he's like, pull the thing, and like, he says something, can't hear him or something like that, and he pulls it and just hits the ground. I think that would have been a better way to go. Zeitgeist falling into a thing. I was really, really disappointed by Shatterstar. One of my favorite Marvel Legends for last year was the Shatterstar figure, and being a Liefeld fan from the 90s, having all the belts and pouches. I love the design of that character. I know he's from like what the Mojo verse, and he's whatever his backstory is, but he's a cool character. I thought they initially started him off great, but then it just kind of went south after they killed him. He falls into a helicopter blade, and his blood is made of green goo, so that was a good. He actually does say he's an alien too, so I appreciated that they kept at least the comic book aspect of him going. Cable, I feel like they should have gone like the Lord of the Rings route and CGI'd him to be all bulky and covered in patches. I might have missed it if they did, but they didn't make any. They kept talking about his fanny pack, which again with the jokes, it kept circulating, but it just never really hit. I wish that Cable would have been like some kind of just roided out muscular dude if they would have done that with Josh Brolin, kind of CGI'd him a little bit. I mean, they did him with Thanos, but I honestly wanted to see more Cable than Deadpool in this movie. I thought Cable was a lot more interesting, and I wish they would have gone more into his backstory. See, that's what I mean. Like, I think they focused too much on the comedy element. There wasn't a lot of story. Then you had the parts with X-Force, which you had Shatterstar and Bedlam and Zeitgeist, and you had Peter and the guy that's disappeared. The guy who disappears turns out to be Brad Pitt, and then they're doing the interviews and they had all the headshots of like it was obnoxious. It wasn't like funny. It was like it totally kept taking me out of the story. I'm like, okay, so these are actors that they're superheroes. I mean, I wanted to see these dudes using their powers. I really did, and of course they all in a comedic fashion, they all end up getting killed. And at the end, Deadpool goes and undoes it all. He undoes basically the story of Deadpool 2. He undoes all the X-Force characters getting killed. He saves Vanessa. So really, Deadpool 2 is a story that just doesn't exist at the end, and it's a full Deus Ex Machina kind of thing, because he gets Cable's watch, and Negasonic and her girlfriend fix the watch. They give it to him in the end credit scene, and he goes back, and that's what all the the end credit scenes are about. I'm gonna be honest. I did like the one where he goes back and he stops the original Deadpool from the Wolverine Origins. That was pretty funny. And then I really liked. I don't know why it doesn't work how it's supposed to work in universe or whatever because it doesn't make any sense. But he goes back and Ryan Reynolds is looking at the Green Lantern script. And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "This is gonna be our blockbuster." And then Deadpool just shoots him in the face to stop the movie. So that was funny, but it doesn't really lend itself to the movie. It's almost as if those could have been released to promote the movie or something like that. Just as like in jokes in universe doesn't really work out for me.
So, in conclusion, do I recommend this movie? Yes, I do recommend it for everyone that wants to go see it. You definitely need to go and form your own opinion on it. If you are really looking forward to it, if you are looking kind of in like a more casual sense, either way, I think you're going to be entertained. I was entertained by this movie, but I just, at the end of it, I didn't feel like it worked that well for me. And you need to go and see it and form your own opinion. You need to make up and see, did it work for you? Did you like it? Did you like the characters? Did you like the humor? Did you like the story? It's all an opinion. It's why we all like to talk to each other. We like to nerd out, and that's the best part about seeing things like this. We don't always have to like everything. We don't always have to like hate on everything. It's important to be kind of well-rounded. And while things didn't work for me, it doesn't mean that it's not going to work for you. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you go, and I hope you enjoy seeing Deadpool. Star Wars is next week, so I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you all have a great weekend. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like as well. And then also go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ToyShiz. I'm happy to answer any questions you ever have about any type of toy. Let's talk about it. Maybe tell me something I've never even heard about. That's always the best. So I will leave you with that. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Eat some good foods, drink some good coffee, and most importantly, find some good toys. I'll see you all later. Adios.